Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Game Society, I call this the Tale of the Baron Returns.
We are on the Baron Returns scenario. There's 2 encounters to this. So this is the first part. The goal is for the heroes to do tests. It's either a knowledge test or a willpower test to collect these bubbling vials. There's 6 of them in total. They want to get as many as possible. And then Lady Eliza also wants to grab some to go into the Overlord area. And then the goblins have a chance to grab them as well with tests, but then they have to escape in the exit to actually count them towards the Overlord. So that is the goal for this scenario. First, the Overlord has some Goblin Archers. They get to attack at range with yellow and blue dice, and then the normal ones have Scampers so they can move past enemies. They have Cowardly so they can't use their Surges unless if they're near a Master Minion or a Lieutenant, and then the Master ones just have a little bit more health and then higher Surges. Next up is the zombies. They have shambling, so they can only move once per turn. They have an effect disease that they can add on if they do damage, and then they can surge a little bit. They have lower damage because they have blue and yellow dice. They have a lower defensive die brown, and then the master one has the ability to grab, which immobilizes, and then they can do a little bit more damage with the surge. Actually, it's the same amount. Next up, the Overlord has Myriads right here. They're a larger monster. They have a really good defensive die, the black die. The regular ones have reach, so they can attack 2 spaces away. They can surge to immobilize and add extra damage. And then the master one also gets to do flail, which allows it to attack 2 heroes at the same time, which is really good. And they can also do a little bit more extra damage and have more health. Also, the overlords get the Lieutenant Lady Eliza Farrow. She has sacrifice, so she can sacrifice a monster next to her to regain health. She has seduce, so she can do a willpower test on a hero to potentially move them 1 space and stun them, which is really good. And then she has surge, which is blood call. She can restore some health. And then because we're playing with 4 heroes, she has 5 movement, 12 health, and a gray defensive die. She does get a ranged attack with blue and yellow. And then she also gets to equip 1 relic, the Staff of Shadows. This allows her to either discard an Overlord card to reroll a die on any turn, or to get another Overlord card. The first hero we have is Tatiana. She has Danger, Sense, Accurate, Nimble, and the Short Bow. Next up is Grisban the Thirsty, has an Iron Battle Axe, Rage, and Charge. The heroes also have Shalara. She has Bright Blaze Familiar, Exploding Rune, Runic Knowledge, Arcane Bolt, and Mana Weave item. Last up is Asharian, their healer. She has Drain Spirit, Healing Rain, Stone Skin, Leather Armor, and Oak Staff as well. First up is the travel events. We always start at Catheri Ruins. We have to go through these 4 different events all the way over to the Baron Returns quest right here. So the first one's going to be a road event. So we're going to go ahead and draw it and see what that says. Right here for the road, we have no event. So they move on to the next one. All right, next up is going to be this river event. So let's see what we draw. We draw this one right here. A mysterious robed figure offers you a ride on his pole barge. If the heroes choose the ride, each hero recovers all fatigue, but the Overlord draws 1 Overlord card. They haven't lost any fatigue during the travel events, so they're just going to pass. Next up is this forest event. So we're going to draw this right here. We get this one. A band of Lataria elves is beset by minions of the Overlord. Heroes may choose to leap to their defense and each suffer a damage. If they do not, the Overlord draws 2 cards. Overlord cards, that's very harsh, so they are going to receive the damage right here. So let's go ahead and place a damage on everyone. 1 on Asharian, 1 on Shalara, 1 on Tatiana, and 1 on Grisband. The last event before the first encounter starts is a plains one, so let's see what we draw. We get this right here. You come across a collection of moss-covered standing stones. Each hero tests willpower and suffers 1 fatigue if he fails. If all heroes pass, each hero draws 1 search card, so we're going to get to that in just a second. Asharian is first. She needs a 3 or less on this. She ends up failing, so she gets a fatigue, so there's going to be no search cards. All right, next up is Shalara. Also needs a 3, so let's go ahead. She passes. She does not receive a fatigue. Grisband over there needs 3 as well. He passes. And then Tatiana has a 2 willpower, so she needs 2 or less. She fails, so she gets a fatigue. They did not all pass this test. They would have been able to all get search cards. That would have been really good. So that's the end of the travel events. Asharian is going to take the first hero turn. She's going to go 1, 2, 3. She's going to open this door right here. So we're going to go ahead and remove that right there. When she does that, the Overlord's going to play Poison Darts. Play this card when a hero opens a door, and he's going to have a Sheeran test. Let's see what a Sheeran is lower in might right there. So 2. So she has to get a 2 or less, or this goes off. So let's go ahead and see what happens. She passes, so nothing happens with the poison dart. It whiffs. All right, so that was 1, 2, 3. Opened it up, and she has 2 more movements. She's going to kind of go, let's go 4, 5. She's going to think about if the zombies can come. Like 1, 2, 3. I think she'll actually probably want to end up going there. This gives her a good spot. Yeah, she'll stay there for now. Actually, I am going to have her go right here. She has some better armor, and she has her little stun ability if someone starts next to her. So she's okay with taking some hits, and she has some new healing powers. Shalara is going to go next, but she's going to have Bright Blaze, the familiar, go first. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, just to get Bright Blaze out there. So right there. And then she's going to go, she has 4 movement. 1, 2, 3. She's going to take a shot at this zombie right here with her Arcane Bolt. She needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range. So let's see if she gets anything special. She gets a, let's go ahead and bring it over here, a blue and a yellow. And then the zombie gets a brown. So let's go ahead and see what happens. She ends up getting 4 damage and 2 surges. But does she have enough range? She needs 4 range. So I don't think she has enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, she ends up missing, because even with the surge, that's 3 range. She's going to use the unused surge to get rid of a fatigue, but she doesn't have any to get rid of. So that's the end of her turn. Actually, she's going to do 1 more movement. She's going to, she did 1, 2, 3, and then probably like right over here just to stay back for a little bit. All right, that's the end of her turn. All right, Tatiana is going to go next. She's going to go 1, 2, 3, interrupt her movement. She's going to attack this zombie right here. She needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range, but she gets +1 range. She's going to go ahead and use her short bow. She gets a reroll on the yellow die if she wants. The zombie gets a brown die. So let's go ahead and see what we get. We end up getting, we do have enough range because we have, what, 6? So we do 1 damage, but there's a defense. She could reroll this one if she wants. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, she can get better. She's going to use her reroll. Her ability accurate. So 2 damage minus the 1. The zombie takes a health right here. And then she moved 3. She's going to move back 4 right here as well, and then end her turn. Grisban is going to go next. He's going to use fatigue to move 1 space right there. So let's go ahead and add the fatigue. And then his first action is going to be 3. 1, 2, 3 right there. Let's get in that spot. And then he's going to do an attack. I don't think he's going to use anything special. So he's just going to roll his axe. So he gets a blue and a red. So blue and a red. And then the zombie gets a brown as well. So let's see what we get. We end up doing 4 damage. I believe the zombie has 3 health. So the zombie gets knocked out right there. So we're going to remove that from the map. That is the end of the hero's first turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, they draw a card. They end up getting a tripwire, which is good for someone with low awareness. Like, I think it's not Tatiana, but it's going to be Grisband and Shalara. So that's going to be good for that later on. All right, and then the Overlord's going to activate Eliza first. Her movement is, I believe it's 5. So she gets to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then she's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to get ready to open up the door. She's going to be trying to get the bubble vials. The goblins also get to move 10, or like 2 movements of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have this master one over here. And then these get to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bring that one over there. They have to be within 3 of her in order to also try to pick up bubbling vials, because they become enthralled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right there. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Put one right here. And the other one's just going to follow suit right there. All right, so that's the end of the goblin activation. The zombies are going to go next. This one's going to, well, I'll think about that one for later. This one's going to move up and attack a Sharon. Sharon gets a gray and a brown defensive die. And the zombies attack with a blue and a yellow. So let's see. Let me go ahead and bring their card over here to see what they can do. All right, this is just a normal one. So ends up getting 3 damage and a surge. Sharon got 1 defensive die. So that's going to do 2 damage plus a surge for adding a disease as well. So 2 damage and the disease effect on a Sharon. Let's go ahead and do that. 1, 2. And then let's grab a disease card over here. All right, and then disease as well. She has to test willpower at the beginning of her turn or suffer of fatigue. All right, the master zombie is going to go next. 1, 2, 3. It's going to do an attack on Grisband. So it gets to roll a blue and a yellow. And then Grisband gets a gray die for defense. So let's see what happens. We end up getting 3 hits minus the 1 defense. So Grisband receives 2 damage. So we're going to go ahead and mark that right here. All right, and then this regular normal zombie is going to go 1, 2, 3, and also do a regular attack on Grisband right there. Same deal, blue and a yellow. Ends up doing 1 damage and a surge, so we're going to see what we're going to do with the surge. We could do disease as well, and that's probably a good idea. So 1 damage and disease on Grisband. So let's go ahead and add the damage right here. Let's go ahead and add a disease to Grisband as well. All right. There is the disease. He also has to test willpower or lose fatigue. All right, and then this last zombie is probably going to go 1, 2, just to kind of get up close to be able to move in and attack later on. So that's the end of the zombie activation. Next up is the Myriad's turn. This one's going to just go right here. It doesn't want to get too close because Shalara can do some blast attacks. And then this one's going to move right here and then use a reach attack right here on Grisbin. Actually, can it technically reach? I think, does it have like line of sight? Let me think about it. It definitely has line of sight because like one corner to the other. I just had to think about it real quick. Sharon's going to use her, let's see, it's called Stone Skin for 1 fatigue to give Grisband another defensive die. So the Myriad's going to attack with reach. Let's see what happens. Oh, we had a die fall. Give me a second. My rules for dice off the table is they have to be rerolls, but this is what fell on the ground, but it is a reroll if it's off the table. All right, this is a, oops, what was that? That was the 2. I don't even know anymore. Yeah, I think it was the 2. There was the 2. Just struggling with dice here. 3, 4, 1 defense. So this is a lot of damage. So it's 3, 4, 5, maybe an immobilize, or 6, 5. Actually, the Overlord's going to use crit for a surge for +3. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minus 1. So Grisband takes 7 damage. That's a massive amount. 5. And then this turns into a 5. So he has 3 health left. It's a pretty rough turn for Grisband. All right, for the heroes, Shalara is going to take the first turn, but she's actually going to move Bright Blaze over to 1, 2, 3 right here for Pierce 1 on any attacks targeting those. And then she's going to take her first action. She's going to move once. And when she moves once, the Overlord's going to activate a tripwire. She has to test awareness. Her awareness is 1, so she needs to roll a 1 or less on these shields. Let's see what happens. She fails, so let's see what happens when a failure. She has to end her movement action. So that stops her movement action, which is kind of a bummer. But then her second action, she could use fatigue to move more if she wants, but she's going to attack this zombie. 1, 2, 3 right there. So it's 3 range away. It does have Pierce 1, and then she's going to use Exploding Rune for a fatigue. So it's going to also hit the normal zombie and the normal Myriad. So we're going to roll this one at a time, and she does have Pierce 1. So she gets a blue and a yellow for the Arcane Bolts. And then the first zombie is going to be the initial master she's targeting. So let's see that go through. She ends up getting 1 damage and 2 surges. So let's see what she's going to do with her surges. Oh, she needed 4 range. She got the 4 range, so that's good. Let's see, she can suffer that to add 2 damage. She can add Pierce 2, like 2 more Pierce, which will be 3 Pierce. So she's going to do that. Suffer fatigue right here to add 2 more damage. And then she's going to add 2 more Pierce. So she is doing 3 damage, 3 Pierce. So that makes this zombie right here, the red zombie, take 3 damage. So let's place that down. It's going to be getting kind of tight over here. That's for that zombie. And then the regular one just has to roll its defensive die right here to see what happens to that one. There's still Pierce 3, so this normal zombie is taken out by the exploding rune. And then the Myriad gets to roll a black defense die, which is a really good one. But remember, it's Pierce 3. Ends up not getting anything. The Pierce 3 almost didn't matter. Ends up receiving 3 damage. This has 5 health in total, so it's actually almost knocked out. That is the end of her turn. Let me place that down first. 2, 3. There you go. That's the end of her turn. Tatiana is going to take the next turn. She's going to shoot with her U short bow at the master zombie. She needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range. She does get a bonus range for her ability. So she gets a yellow and a blue. The zombie gets a brown. So let's see what happens. Oh, that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and place those. A damage and 2 surges. There is a Pierce 1 because the Bright Blaze is next to it. So yeah, the range is good. So we're going to end up doing just 2 damage right there. Actually, I could re-roll this one with her accurate ability. She's going to. Let's give it a jiggle. And I have to roll a different one. We got dice flying all over the place. That doesn't count. There we go. So same thing she ends up doing with the surge, 2 damage, and the unspent surge, she gets to remove a fatigue right there. So that's her first action for put the 2 damage on. Zombie goes to 5 of 6, so it's almost taken out. Let's remove that. And then her next action, she's going to attack again. Same thing. She also needs 3 range, I believe. She got the range, and then she does 3 damage, so that zombie is taken out. And then for her last action, she's going to actually spend 2 fatigue over here on Danger Sense. So exhaust that. The Overlord has to discard a random Overlord card. So let's go ahead and put these. It's only 2. This one's going to be evens. That one's going to be odds. So let's see what we get. No, that doesn't even fit. So odds, Dark Charm is discarded. That was a very good card to get rid of. And that is the end of Tatiana's turn. Sharon's going to take the next turn, but she has to do disease. She has to test willpower, which is a 3, so she has to get 3 or less. All right, she fails. So if she fails, she suffers a fatigue, which is pretty rough. She was planning on actually doing a heal this turn, so she's going to have to think about what she's going to do now. All right, so she's going to use Drain Spirit and do an attack on that right there. So that is her last fatigue. If she does at least 1 damage, she gets to heal everyone within 3. So it's going to be Shalara and Grisban. So let's see, the zombie gets a brown die. She gets a blue and a yellow for the oak staff right here. She ends up... All right, I'll count that one, I guess. Actually, I'm being inconsistent. It has to be in the tower. All right, there you go. That's fine. All right, so 4 damage minus 2, which is enough to take out the zombie. She doesn't even need to surge for the extra. She's going to use an unspent surge to get rid of a fatigue right there, which is pretty good. So the zombie actually takes enough damage to get removed from the map. So that one's gone. And then she gets to heal up 1. Grisban gets to heal up 1. And then Shalara gets to heal up 1. So it's a really good turn for her. The next action she's going to do is to search. So she's going to go ahead and remove that. And then she gets to draw a search item right here. She ends up getting Warding Talisman to add to 2 defense after dice are rolled. And she gets 50 gold whether she uses this or not. So that's really good. So we're going to add that to her pile over here. That's the end of her turn. All right, Grisban's going to go last. He has to roll for Diseased. His willpower is 3, so he has to get a 3 or less. So let's see what we get. He passes, so he gets to discard the card. All right, that's cool. It's good for him. He's then going to use 1 fatigue to move right here, so he doesn't have to waste an action. His next action is going to be to attack the Myriad. He gets pierced because of the Bright Blaze. He gets a red and a blue, and the Myriad gets a black die. So let's go ahead and roll that, red and a blue. And he does get 1 pierce naturally from the Iron Battle Axe as well. So there's pierce 2. He needs to end up doing 2 damage. So he does 4 damage, pierce 2. So that's more than enough to take out the Myriad. The Myriad is gone. He does have 4 health left, so he has to be careful about this guy attacking next turn. So His plan is he can go all the way back and use more movement with his other action and use 2 more fatigue to just move really back there, and then this myriad won't be able to get to him. Or he can kind of just get close to a Sharon, and then she can use Stone Skin to help him, and he can also move over and then trade items. It's actually probably a good idea. I was thinking about that. The third option is to, I guess, like start walking towards the store to get the bubbling vials. But I think going backwards is going to be bad. He just doesn't want to get KO'd because then the Overlord either gets to draw a card or gets some more threat tokens. But yeah, he's going to use his second action. Let's bring it right here. Actually, I don't even know if he needs to be that close. He wants to. The zombie can do some damage. Probably not. Needs to be within 3 of this to get Stone Skin, but he does want to trade. So he's going to go here and then trade and receive the Warding Talisman to get 2 more defense dice. Sorry, defense shields after being rolling. All right, and that is the end of the hero's turn. All right, at the beginning of the turn, Eliza is going to spend an action to open this door right here. I don't think she needs to move anywhere because let's see, 1, 2, 3, a goblin can go right there. So this particular goblin's going to go 1, 2, 3 right here. And then second action is going to be, it's enthralled because it's within 3 spaces of Eliza. And it's going to roll test either knowledge or willpower. All right, I just checked both. The Goblin Archers uses her stats. Both knowledge and willpower are the same stat 3, so he has to get a 3 or less to pick that up. So let's see. It does not pass that test. I forgot to mention that the Overlord draws a card at the beginning of the turn, which is Pit Trap, which is going to be good against Grisban. Really good. He's been hurting anyways. All right, and then this particular goblin is going to go 1, 2, I guess 3 on it, and then also try to pick it up. The bubbling vial. I don't think it's an obstacle, but it's okay. We'll just, yeah, that's fine. It also needed to get 3 or less. It did not. That's a fail. Wasn't expecting that. This one's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then attempt to pick that one up as well. 3 or less. Finally gets it, so it goes under its base. So this one picked it up. It's going to go actually under its base. Let's just assume that they're obstacles. I'll look it up later, but yeah. All right, I'll just move that one over there when it tested for that. So this one now has to go to the exit for the Overlord in order to score it. If the heroes defeat this one, it will drop, and then someone else can pick it up. All right, so this goblin is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then test on that bubbling vial right there, 3 or less. It gets that one, so that's great. So that's going to go under that goblin right there. This goblin can try to start helping or go towards these bubbling vials over there. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3. That doesn't want to go there yet. I guess so. 4, 5. Yeah, 4, 5. And then it can't attack because line of sight's blocked. I guess right here. Let me restart real quick. All right, the Master Goblin Archer is going to go last. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then move right there. Get ready to open the door the next turn. So that's the end of the Goblin Archer's turn. Okay, the zombie is going to go next. This one's going to move 1, save the rest of its movement, interrupt its turn to attack Grisban right there. Grisban's not going to use anything special right now. All right, so we have a yellow and a blue die against a gray defense. So let's see what happens. All right, we have 1 damage and 2 surges, and then 1 defense. We're going to go ahead and, oh, this is pretty good. So 1 surge, so that's 2 damage, and then disease. So 1 damage goes through, and disease as well. So let's go ahead and mark that. 1 damage. It's not looking good for Grisman. Disease right here. All right, and then the zombie gets to move 2 more. It's just going to move back 2 more, just to make it tougher for the heroes to try to get it. All right, the Myriad's about to do a very dangerous turn, so it's going to move. It's going to pick this corner spot, and then it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then expand over here. Just going to move this right here. I don't think anyone's going to be doing anything with the door anytime soon. All right, and then it has flails, so when it attacks, it gets to attack 2 creatures, heroes actually. It has reach, so this time it's actually going to hit Grisband and then Shalara right there. A Sharon's going to use Stone Skin on Grisband. All right, so let's go ahead and roll the dice. We roll the dice once. We're going to roll the red and blue for the Myriad. That's what that one gets. And then Grisband's going to be first with the 2 defensive dice. But before we forget, Sharon has to spend a fatigue for the stone skin. All right, so let's see what happens to Grisband. That's 2 damage. Oh, that's not even anything too fancy. All right, so I think Grisband is completely lucky. No damage goes through. All right, so then 2 damage still stays because it's 1 attack roll. And then Shalara has to roll her 1 grade defensive die. So let's see. Let's give it a good roll. 1. So Shalara receives 1 damage. That could have been way worse for the heroes. All right there. But the Overlord's going to use Frenzy. The Myriad gets another attack, and it gets to flail and hit 2 more heroes again. So it's going to go ahead and do the same thing on the same characters. This time, Grisband does not get the extra die because Stone Skin is used up, and Asheron doesn't have enough stamina right now. All right, so Grisband's going to hit first. Yeah, this is a much more dangerous attack. Let's see, we got 4 damage and a surge. And then there's 2 defense and Grisband. The surge, the mobilize could be pretty rough, but I think it's just going to do more damage. So that's 6 damage with that, minus the 2. So Grisband's going to take 4. And then if he uses the warding potion, warding talisman, he only receives 2 damage, and then he'll have 1 health left. So it's very close to getting defeated. 10, 12, 13. That was super lucky. All right. And then this is still going through the 6 damage. So let's see what happens to Shalara. She blocks 1, so she receives 5. So that's pretty rough. All right. That's the end of the Overlord turn. All right. Asheron's going to take the first hero turn. She has to roll for a disease. She has to get test willpower, so she has to get a 3 or less. So let's go ahead and roll this right here. She passes, so the disease gets discarded, which is good. And then her first action, she'll rest. She removes this at the end of the turn, but I'm just going to do it right now so I don't forget. And then her other action is going to be a movement of 5. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the zombie is going to be behind the door right there. Zombie will have 1 turn stun because of this when it begins its activation if they don't get rid of the zombie. So that's the end of Asheron's turn. All right, Grisband takes the next turn. He's diseased, so he has to test willpower or lose his stamina. So he has to get 3 or less. Let's go ahead and see what he gets. He passes it, so the disease is removed. And then his first action is going to be to attack the Myriad. He's going to use Rage, so he has to spend his fatigue right there. He'll get a plus damage. All right. It has 1 pierce. The Myriad gets the black die. He gets a blue and a red. So we got 1 pierce and 1 extra damage. Let's see what happens. That is a miss. I don't think he has any way to re-roll it, so that was pretty rough. He's going to use his second action to go ahead and do another attack. Rage again. So we're going to go ahead and use this stamina right there. Hopefully he doesn't miss. All right, that's a lot going through. Remember, this is +1 damage. So 3 hearts, 4, 5, and then this for 6, 7. The Myriad only has, let's see how much health. It has 7 health. That actually takes it out. That was super lucky. First time was bad luck. That time was super lucky. And then he has to think about his next action. Actually, my bad. That is Grisband's last action. That's the end of his turn. Tatiana's going to go next. She's going to move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess right there. And she's going to take a shot at the zombie right here. She has range 1, 2, 3, 4 range. Well, 3 because of her special ability. She's going to go ahead and roll a blue and a yellow. And the zombie gets a brown. So let's go ahead and grab those. See what happens. Sorry, put that over that. All right, she does 4 damage. That's enough to take out the zombie right there. And that is the end of her turn. And then Shalara is going to take the next turn. She's going to move right there. And then before she moves any further, the Overlord's going to do Pit Trap. She has to test awareness. So she has to get 1 or less because that's her awareness stat. Black and a gray die. Let's see what we get. She fails. So let's see what happens if she fails. She suffers a damage and loses a movement point. So she will only have 2 movement left because she had 4 total. All right, so let's go ahead and give her damage. She's going to, right there, 5, 6, 7. She only has 3 health left. All right, so she gets 2 more movements. 1, 2. They're going to try to go into this room to get bubbling vials and that one as well. The Overlord's already grabbing some, and they're going to move next turn. All right, so that's the end of the hero's turn. At the beginning of the Overlord turn, it's going to draw a card. Got Unholy Ritual. Play this at the start of your turn. She does not want to draw more cards because it would reduce the Goblin Archer's actions by 1. So the first thing she's going to activate is going to be herself. Her movement is going to be, let's see, 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right there. And then her second action is she's going to, does she want to actually take a shot? Yeah, she'll take a shot at Tatiana right here. She has to get a 1, 2, a 3 for range. She gets to roll a yellow and a blue. So let's go ahead and do that. Yellow and a blue. Tatiana gets a gray die. She can't really use anything else. Oops, gray die has to roll in here. All right, that is a miss, and there's nothing that the Overlord can do. That's the end of Eliza's turn. Now the Goblin Archers are going to go. First action is to pop this door open right there. And then it's going to go 1, 2, 3 to get ready for that one. Let's see which one's carrying. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, it's trying to get ready to go out. Same thing with this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way over there, 5. All right, so then we have these ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is also going to take a shot at Tatiana. It needs 1 extra range. I forgot to mention that because of Tatiana's special ability. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range, a yellow and a blue with the goblin right here. Cowardly doesn't have to matter because of being near Eliza. Tatiana gets a gray. All right, so that's 2 damage over minus the 1. So there's nothing else special, no surges. So Tatiana takes a damage right there. Let's go ahead and place that. And then this other goblin's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's the end of the Overlord turn. Sharon's going to take the first action. She's going to open this door right here. So that is open. She's going to use a fatigue to get a movement to go right here. Actually, this is still adjacent right there. No, I don't think so. A fatigue to go right here. So that's going to place that. And then her next action is going to be to test knowledge or willpower to pick up the bubbling vial. She's going to use willpower. She needs to get a 3 or less. All right, so let's see. 3 or less to pick it up. She does. So she picks this up and puts it on her character sheet right there. All right, that's the end of Sharon's turn. All right, Tatiana is going to take the next turn. She's going to attack Lady Eliza here. Right, she's going to need a yellow and a blue, and she needs to get 2 range. Lady Eliza gets a gray defensive die, so let's see what happens. She got the range, and a lot of surges here. So it's 2, 3 damage, plus a surge 4, and the other unspent to get rid of a fatigue. So 4 damage minus 2, so the lady takes 2 damage. Right there. And then Tatiana's second action is going to attack this Goblin Archer. Needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range, 3 because of the special ability. So this is going to be the same deal, same dice. All right, that's 2. Let me take these out real quick. It's enough range. 3 plus the 1 for special ability is 4. So 2 damage, so only surge for an extra damage. So 2 damage goes through, which gets rid of the Goblin right there. Goblin is gone. And the other unspent surge is going to remove a fatigue as well. And then she's going to use, oh no, I guess sense danger is an action. All right, so that's the end of her turn. Grisman's going to go next. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then use his second action to rest. So remove these at the end of the turn. I'm just going to do it now. I guess that is the end of his turn. All right, Shalara is going to go next, but have Bright Blaze go first. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. She's going to go 1, 2, interrupt her movement to attack. She needs to get 1, 2, 3 range on the lady. She gets a, let's see, let's bring these over here. Arcane Bolts is a yellow and a blue. Let's bring all of this over there. All right, so let's see what happens. The lady gets a gray die. All right, we have 2 damage, 3 damage, and a surge. We definitely have enough range. So let's make the surge, I guess, suffer fatigue to do 2 more. So it'll be 5 damage minus 1, so 4 damage. All right, so let's suffer the fatigue for the ability. So what did I say? 2, 3, 4, 5, so 4 damage. All right, so that turns that one into a 5. She does have some healing abilities, but they might as well try to add on some damage too. And then 3, 4 as her last 2 actions, so she's now can't be KO'd. I guess there was no reason to not exhaust this to get another pierce to get 1 more damage in there. There was just no reason. I just noticed it there. Now it's the end of her turn. At the start of the Overlord turn, we draw a card. This is going to be Dark Fortune for a reroll, which is pretty good. And then we also get a Goblin Reinforcement right here. All right, the Goblins are going to go first. This one's going to go 1, 2, 3, score the Bubbling Vial, go back out 4, 5. This one's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, score that vial, go up 5. This one's going to do double movement of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to go all the way up over there to join the battle. Let's see. No, the lady should have gone first, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit, but she's going to take her turn first. Sorry, I have to move that real quick. Let me think about it. The lady's going to use her Staff of Shadows to exhaust it, to discard Unholy Ritual, to draw another card. She ends up getting Word of Misery, which is pretty good. I don't think we're going to use it this turn. But then she's going to take a shot at Tatiana. 1, 2, 3. She needs 4 range because of Tatiana's special ability. So she gets to roll a yellow and a blue and needs 4 range. And Tatiana gets a gray die and is not near a Sheeran for Stone Skin. So let's see. 4 range. She got the range. All right, so that's that. So 1 damage against 3. All she can do is Blood Call, which I believe heals her for how much damage she does. Let's see. Yeah, after rolling dice. So yeah, nothing happens. That attack misses. All right, and then she's going to spend 5 movement points. 1, 2, 3. I guess 3, 4. She can go right here. Yeah, 4 right here. 5, 4. 4 right there is 5, 6, 7 damage on her. She has 5 more health. She's going to scoot back a little bit more just in case. She needs to heal before she exposes herself. All right, so that's the end of her turn. All right, I'm going to continue the Goblin Archer's turn. This one's going to try to pick up the Bubbling Vial. It needs to roll a 3 or less on the gray or black die. It's testing willpower. It does, so it picks it up. It's pretty lucky. And then second action is to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right over around the corner. It's trying to get to the exit. And then this Goblin Master Archer is also going to try to pick that up. It has to get a 3 or less. So let's see the first action. It fails. All right, the Goblin Archer is going to try to get this Bubbling Vial and hope for the best for next turn. It has to get a 3 or less. It fails. All right, so that is the end of the Overlord turn. All right, Asheron's going to go first. She's going to use 2 fatigue to move twice over there. So let's go ahead and add the 2 fatigue. She's then going to try to pick up this Bubbling Vial. She needs to roll willpower 3 or less. So let's see if she gets it. It's a black and a gray die. She does get to pick it up, so it goes on her character sheet right here. Right there. And then her second action, she's going to search. So she's going to move that over. And then she ends up getting, see if anything good. Treasure chest. Immediately discard this card to draw 1 random shop item card from the current axe deck. All right, let's see what happens. She ends up getting a Elm Greatbow. Oh, this is really good for Tatiana later on. All right, there you go. That's going to go right there for Sheeran. That's the end of her turn. Grisman's going to go next. He's going to 1, 2, 3, and then use the fatigue to move 1 over. So let's go ahead and add the fatigue. And the second action is going to be to search. So let's go ahead and grab this. We end up getting a stamina potion for him. All right, he's not really going to use that. Doesn't need to. And that is the end of his turn. All right, Shalara is going to go next. She's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 to go right there. 1, 2, 3, 4 range to hit Eliza. So she's going to go ahead and roll a blue die and a yellow die for the Arcane Bolt. Eliza gets a gray defensive die. So let's see. She needs to get a 4 range first. So let's see what happens. Actually, let's see. Before that, could Bright Blaze get up close? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll have Bright Blaze go before all of that. So Pierce 1. Do we get the 4 range? We do get enough range, and that's going to be 2 damage. She's going to use Mana Weave to get another stamina. And then with the other stamina, she's going to add a fatigue to add 2 more damage. So she's going to do 4 damage. So let's give her her stamina right there for Runic Knowledge, and then place the 4 damage on Eliza. All right, that's going to turn to 11. She has 1 more health left. So the heroes are going to try to take her out. So that's the end of Shalara's turn. Tatiana is going to take the next turn. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. She's going to use 3 stamina to move right here. So that's 3 stamina. 1, 2, 3. She's going to do her first attack right here on that. There is Pierce 1. She gets a blue and yellow. She needs 1, 2, 3, 4 range, but 3 because of her special ability. So let's see what happens. Let's see. She just needs to do 1 damage. All right, that is more than enough to do the 1 damage. So there you go. It's going to be 3, 4, even with the pierce. All right. The Overlord could use Dark Fortune to reroll this to hope to get a 3 right there, but with the 1 pierce, it still will do 1 damage no matter what. So she gets taken out, and with that, every bubbling vial on the map gets discarded, and every bubbling vial on a goblin also gets discarded. So that is the end of the first part of the encounter. We'll transition to part 2.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Good night.